Welcome back, everybody. This is Chapter 2, Part 3. Chapter 2 is all about maps and geographic techniques. Here we are in Part 3. Now, at the end of the last time, we talked about coordinate systems and latitude and longitude quite extensively. Today, we'll move on to another topic. Not coordinate systems, but something related to coordinate systems is survey systems. Land survey systems are discussed in your textbook. They talk about the French long lot system, the old style meets and bounds land survey system, and also the famous Township and Range system. Let's take a look at each one of those in sequence. The long lot are common in the French-held areas of North America, those areas of the St. Lawrence Valley in Quebec that were settled by French colonists, and also the French in Louisiana as well, the Cajuns. They tended to survey out land parcels into individual farmsteads with the long lots method. And here we have an old map that shows some of these long lots back from the river. Here's an oblique photo that shows these long lot farmsteads back from the river. And in the background here, you have these farmsteads that are all lined up along a road. So the way they would survey it out is that along where a road would be or where a river was, they surveyed it out back in a long rectangular parcel rather than having random squares, pieces of property. Now, this is good for a lot of reasons. For one, each farmer has access to the road or the river for transportation, and also for communication. In the olden days was easier to spread the news if one farmer lived next to another farmer next to another farmer, and the fields then were back beyond that. It was also equitable to everyone as well because everybody kind of had the same environment. Everybody had a little bit of bottom land, everybody had a little bit of slope land, everybody had a little bit of upland areas that were in forest here. So land was surveyed out in these long lots, and through inheritance, when a farmer had two sons and they split the land, they didn't split it in two. They'd split it in two long ways. So now, when you fly over these areas that were settled by the French, linearity or long lots are everywhere. Another type of survey system was the old meets and bounds system, part of the Old World and also part of the original 13 colonies in the United States. Land was surveyed out on a more convoluted system than the one that we have today. And matter of fact, there are still some legal disagreements over who owns what in the record. Because it used to be that natural points or man-made points were used as references. For example, say Farmer Jones's land was everything from Jones Creek down to the old oak tree, and then from there everything down to the old granite boulder, and then back again to the river. Well, the problem with that type of system is that, old oak trees, they get old and they die and they fall over, and even boulders can move or roll downhill, and rivers have been known to change course. So that was definitely a convoluted system. A lot of the old world things, the records still say it that way. Now, they tried to fix this by putting these points with regards to latitudinal and longitudinal coordinate points, and then angular compass measurements as well to try to better define these. But there are still some arguments out there based on the old meets and bounds. As part of the land survey system, not a coordinate system exactly, is the Township and Range system. that in the United States history, the Land Ordinance of 1785 and the Homestead Act meant that people could go out and settle areas of the West, and if they lived on that piece of property, they got to claim it and they got to own it. But who owned what? So there had to be a new survey system, and so this was done in the Midwest and Western states, which I think that you might see that as you go further west in the United States, the states start getting more and more squarish and rectangular, and the counties within them are squarish and rectangular. Well, that goes back to the original Township and Range system. Thomas Jefferson had the idea that as new states would come into the young United States, they would all be squarish in shape, and they would all have classical Greek names. For example, where I'm from originally is I'm from the state of Polypolypsia. Okay, all right. So that didn't happen. That not all the states are squarish exactly, and they don't have classical Greek names, but a lot of them have Indian names. But the legacy of the Township and Range is still with us in the landscape. All right. So every piece of property has a 40-acre address. Where's my 40 acres? This farmer was asking. Well, he's on it right now. Well, they use the baseline parallels of the geographic grid, and then also choose a principal meridian, and then allocate the townships and the sections and the portions of the sections accordingly. For example, this 40 acres here. Here's the address, southwest quarter of southeast quarter of section 14, T2S R3W. Well, let's see, T2S R3W, that means Township 2 South, okay, and then Range 3 West. All right, so this one, it's highlighted. And then, so that's the township. Now, this is a section, so it's section 14. There are 36 sections, so that makes a square. And in that section 14, then you're in the southeast quarter here, and this is the southwest quarter of the southeast quarter. And so everywhere has this address on the famous Township and Range system. This squarishness tends to exhibit itself in the landscape out in the Midwest and West. Very often, the states are squarish in many ways, and the counties within them are often squarish, and the townships are squarish, and very often, well, the farmer's fields, even if he acquires new ones, they're squarish because it's easier to go back and forth plowing and harvesting on a square or rectangle. And probably even the farmer's clothes. What is the farmer's? Well, he wears a checkerboard shirt, right? A check shirt. And what do they do for fun on the weekends? That's right, they go square dancing. So there's a lot of squares out there. And matter of fact, you might think that Midwestern farmers are kind of square from your perspective. And the road network, they tend to run north-south and east-west and so forth. It's this Township and Range survey system is evident on the landscape. Okay, so that's survey systems, kind of a subset of coordinate systems. And we will move on to another topic starting next time, but I'll leave you with this question, though. And looking at this map, and you know where the meridians and the parallels are, and here you have Europe and North America. What's the shortest geographic distance between New York and Moscow? Is it Route A or is it Route B? All right, I'll leave you with that question, and we'll pick it up in part 4 of Chapter 2 next time.